Thank you for watching, subscribing, commenting down below, and I'll see you on the next. Hold on, this goes at the end of the video. Let's try that again. Alright, that's better. So this build was a head-to-head build, and the theme that we're going with is a two-car mashup. So we had to start with this Stingray, and we had to select a second casting to add to the Stingray. So we're going to chop these things in half, try to stick them together into one. Let's see what we can do. What a mess.
Poof!
Okay, so looking at this car, seeing where I want to cut it. I'm planning on using the back half of the muscle and blown cast and the front half of the Stingray. The first thing we need to do is get rid of this roof. And we'll cut this muscle and blown in half. Cut the Stingray. I think those body lines are working out pretty well together. You can see the swoop comes down from the rear and onto the front pretty well. I went out and stripped the paint. It came off really well from this more modern casting, but this older Stingray cast was just impossible to get the paint off. It'll be a little rough in the end, but I'm not too fussed about cleaning it up. One thing I will do though is get the paint out of these lines using this toothpick. Good thing about a toothpick is it's softer than the metal and it won't scratch. So while I'm cleaning up this casting, I want to talk about who I'm doing this head-to-head build with. And that's my buddy Kitch over at Kitch Customs. He doesn't have a YouTube channel, but go check him out on Instagram and you can see his head-to-head build. He's got some killer builds over there, so go give him a follow. There'll be a link to his page in the description of this video. I had to do a little filing to get the glass from the Stingray to fit into the other car. Alright, time to glue this thing together. You can see we hit the joint here with some super glue and baking soda. I want to make sure this is nice and tacked together. Don't want it falling apart on me halfway through this build. And I chopped the useful parts of the base, glued that together, and lined it all up. Wheels. I went with some nice real riders on the back. They fit really nicely in those wheel wells. And some regular Hot Wheels mainline wheels for the front. I cut out all the long minutes of me searching for the right wheels, but this is what I ended up using. Alright, there's these weird holes on the side here where I kind of messed up my cut, so I figured I'd put some exhaust coming out of there. I needed some spacing underneath the interior. I built it up with some styrene sheet. With a little bit of filing, you can pass all the way through this hole. Now it's time to bend that exhaust. Using a toothpick inside the end there to give it a more uniform bend. And I went with a broken look on the end of these pipes. It adds just a little more character. Back to the heat gun. Both sides are bent and it's looking nice. Glue it in place. Now this detail on the front of the car was a bit boring, so I figured I would put some velocity stack style pipes into the hood. Just go in with a rough styrene cut here. That'll give us our backer. And I want these pipes to be recessed in. And we'll deal with that in a little while. What I ended up doing was adding a different height of square stock to each side. You can see one is 2mm and one is 1mm. That allows me to cant these pipes so that they're facing out at an angle instead of straight up. I drilled out this little pipe detail in the back to add a flag. I thought it just suited the build nicely, and it's easy enough to do. This flag is very similar to the way I did my sail. You can go check out my video on sailing cars in the wasteland. And that'll be all we need for the flag. On to the paint. As always, the chassis is getting some burnt iron. And I'll hit some of these details with silver. Front grille and the taillights and the exhaust. I did the wheels as well in silver. And I will hit all of the burnt iron with a silver dry brush. Okay, onto the body of the car. I mixed 1-to-1 scarlet and crimson to give it a deeper red. Not as deep as I would have hoped, and this base coat was horrendous. But with another couple coats on top of that, it turned out pretty nice. And I think we found another contender for most detailed interior. This Stingray even has a nicer steering wheel. Look at that. We'll detail that up in my favorite interior color. I feel like every car gets the same interior color now. It's equal parts yellow ochre and burnt umber. There we go, all detailed up. Next I'm going with a wash. I started with a pin wash just in the panel lines, but I wanted a little bit more depth and shading in that red. Still a bit too bright for me, so I ended up washing and blotting with a tissue. And for the wheels, I alternated a brown wash, black wash to give them almost a gold color while still looking nice and dirty and letting that metallic silver shine through. Scorched the ends of these exhaust pipes and did a very poor job freehanding some personalized license plate. I had to try the P more than once. And the lines got a bit thicker than I originally intended, but I think it turned out okay. Flat black on the tires. And apply some of these weathering powders. Nice and dusty. This just helps tie everything together into the theme and meld all the parts together. There we go, looking nice. So this is what we ended up with. It's not perfect, but I think it turned out pretty nice. I was hoping for a deeper red, but what can you do? I'd like to thank you for watching the video, subscribing. I really appreciate all the comments down below. Again, go check out Kitch's Instagram to go see his 2-car mashup, and I'll see you on the next build. If you're looking for more videos, go check out some of my other builds here on my channel. See ya!